Oh boy. Welcome to race number 19 of 29 here in the 1989 throwbacks. I swear, not going to redo this again. We're just running with this track. By now, you probably know the spiel. Tim Richmond over a one race lead on Bill Elliott. He's running away. Summer Super Speedway Madness ends. And how about that? Harry Gant is going to be on the... Oh, wow. How about that? Harry Gant is going to get a pole here at Michigan. That is awesome. You want to talk about a resurgent season? How about look no further than Harry Gant being on the pole here at Michigan? In second, you're going to have Dale Earnhardt. In third, Ken Schrader. Fourth, Bill Elliott. Fifth, Terry Labonte. Sixth, we have Rusty Wallace. Seventh, Tim Richmond. Eighth, Brett Bodine. Ninth will be Phil Parsons, and rounding out the top 10 will be Davey Allison. Remember, this is a track where he got his first career win. Here is the command.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The command's been given. The cars are firing up. The pace car is rolling off. Looks like everyone's rolling off cleanly. I think I should now take time to say that Jimmy Means is going to be recovering from injuries due to his crash at Watkins Glen last week. He ended up hitting the wall going into turn 5 very, very hard, driver's side. And, well, he is currently at home recovering from injury. So right now, Jeff Purvis is driving the number 52 Alka-Seltzer Pontiac. He is making his NASCAR Winston Cup Throwbacks debut. The pace car is going down pit road now. Harry Gant's going to lead him down to the line, and the green flag is out here from Michigan. They're going to zoom here into corner number 1. Remember, over 190 miles an hour. They're entering in corner number 1. Looks like Harry Gant's going to try to take the lead early here. He's going to have to fight off a hard-charging Ken Schrader. Remember, he had an excellent performance here at Michigan before. He's going to try to get up to the 33, but it's not going to happen. He gets really loose down on the bottom of the track, and Harry Gant is going to lead lap number 1. Dale Earnhardt is here on the outside, and it looks like Rusty Wallace is also going to try to take the 3rd position away from Ken Schrader as well. Schrader is really paying for that mistake. So Harry Gant is going to take the lead. And it looks like here comes Bill Elliott on the outside even. He's going to try to take advantage. Meanwhile, Earnhardt, he gets a good run on the outside of Harry Gant. He might be able to take advantage. Earnhardt got a good run there through the middle of the corner, but I believe Gant's going to beat him coming off, and he's going to have the drafting help of Rusty Wallace. Or not, they're going to go 3 wide across the line. Rusty Wallace dives to the bottom of the racetrack. Dale Earnhardt backs off. Dale Earnhardt is close up, maybe into the wall. Not quite. It looks like he's going to be able to avoid the wall. But boy, it was very, very close there for a second or two. I thought that Earnhardt was for sure going into the wall. Here comes Bill Elliott here down on the bottom. He's trying to make a pass. I don't think he's going to be able to get it done, however. And a lot of people are going to be able to get a run on the outside, including Ken Schrader. And here comes Tim Richmond to the bottom. That's going to be huge for points if Richmond's able to take this position away from Elliott. We'll see what happens here going into turn 1. Elliott got a strong run through the corner. And it looks like, indeed, Elliott's going to clear the 25 off the corner. And Elliott is going to have the advantage for now. Ken Schrader's going to try to get a run on Wallace here. Not going to happen. Meanwhile, after all of that has been going on, right now your leader is the number 33 of Harry Gant. It's been a little while since he's led a large majority of the race, much less even had a pole. That's his first pole since the 1984 throwback season, which is incredible to think about, going almost 5 years without a pole. And Rusty Wallace, he had a really strong run on Gant, but then I think his run just got destroyed there in turns 1 and 2. And now everyone's ganging up on the outside of him. And wow. Tim Richmond is going to try for this position from Bill Elliott yet again. And I think it's going to fail yet again. Look at this move by Elliott on the outside. Can he keep the momentum going? Boy, Richmond really wants that position. I think he's got it. I think he's got it too, and now Allison's going to try to duck to the bottom. Boy, the bottom got a really good run. This is really allowing Harry Gant to check out on the field. Richmond wants more. He wants the second position. He's going to go 3 wide to try to pass again. And there goes Wallace on the outside. The bottom line just not sticking very good here on the opening run. No doubt about that. The bottom line just proving to be not the place that you want to be. But Richmond is going to get the third position out of this deal. And if he can score another top 5 today, man, he is going to be large and in charge going into Bristol next week. And we all know what kind of a race Bristol can be. It's just another one of those wildcard races. This race can be quite the wild card too. Meanwhile, whoa, an issue with Ken Schrader for the second week in a row. He got way up there. He is way off the pace. An issue for the 35 team. Again, last week they had to retire due to a blown motor. It looks like they're having similar issues here today. Schrader's going to bring it down pit road, and they're going to have to figure out what's going on here. Meanwhile, Harry Gant. He's trying to hold off a very hard-charging Rusty Wallace right now. Rusty Wallace would like to have a second win this season, no doubt about that, but Harry Gant is hungry. He hasn't won since the 1985 throwback season. He doesn't just want this win, he needs this win. He's had such a strong resurgence over the summer, he doesn't want to let it go. There goes Wallace around. Can Harry Gant hold on? I don't think he's going to be able to. Wallace is going to go to the point here at Michigan. Dale Earnhardt right now in 4th. Bill Elliott in 5th. Phil Parsons right now trying to find a way around Elliott for 6th. Harry Gant will fall to 3rd, and Rusty Wallace is going to pick up 5 bonus points with those laps led. Meanwhile, Richmond's going to try to complete the pass on the outside here. We'll see if he can get it done. I think Gant's actually going to help the 27's cause here on the bottom lane. Remember, the draft does definitely mean something here at Michigan at these high speeds. Going over 190 miles an hour into corner number 1. And it looks like everyone is going to hold their position. Wallace is going to hold on to 1st. Richmond holds on to 2nd. Harry Gant unable to pass either of them. So Richmond unable to pass for the lead, Gant unable to pass for second. And wow, it looks like Richmond almost shot out of a cannon there, trying to get on the outside of the 27. I don't think Wallace is going to allow it, as you see the block go on there. And Richmond's not going to dive down deep into corner number 3 to try to pass him. Meanwhile, Earnhardt, he really needs a strong showing in a race. He's currently 4th. Elliott may be starting to fall off of a cliff. We don't really know. But he's really starting to lose momentum with respect to Tim Richmond. 160, 170 points down going into this race. And he could be looking at a 200-point deficit going into the final 10 races of the year. And it's only going to get worse here for Elliott. So it really is starting to look like that there's nothing that's going to stop Tim Richmond from winning this championship. He's just looked so strong all year long, and it just doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. Right now, though, Rusty Wallace, he's got a really strong car. He's pulling away. He's got to be very, very happy with the performance of that car right now. How about Tim Richmond's fastest lap, almost a full mile an hour faster than everyone else, and that's got to be concerning. We haven't really seen a dominating fastest lap like that in quite a while. So we know that Tim Richmond has a potentially dominating car, so boy, Rusty Wallace is going to have to try everything in his power to keep that 25 car behind him. Yes, and we mean everything in his power. Harry Gant's keeping up, though, proving that that pole was definitely not a fluke. Meanwhile, we have more battling here for the 4th position on back. Dale Earnhardt trying to fend off a very hard-charging Phil Parsons. Look at this run on the outside he's going to get, but he's not going to pull even with the Intimidator, and it looks like... No, he's going to. Wow. Phil Parsons not giving up on that outside lane. Dale Earnhardt not giving up on the inside lane either. Here comes Parsons. He's going to try to get that good run. Can't quite get the job done. It doesn't look like Earnhardt was able to clear him either, or at least clear him enough to think that he's completed the pass. Oh, look at this run by Phil Parsons again. He got a really strong one that time. Elliott's going with Dale Earnhardt right now, but it looks like Parsons is going to temporarily pass him. Parsons had him at the line. Can he try to get a similar run here through turns 1 and 2? He will. Can he continue that run through turns 3 and 4? Can he try to get this pass done? Just is going to back way off. Way off. Now he's going to dive it in deep. He didn't quite get the throttle on that he needed. And I think Earnhardt's finally going to clear Parsons here. So Earnhardt's going to hang on to the 4th position there as we go back to the battle for the lead. Looks like Harry Gant is slowly losing the 2 leaders here, but right now Rusty Wallace is holding on to a strong lead over Tim Richmond. Wallace proving that he's got a fast car as well. Meanwhile, no, this battle's still not done. Here comes Parsons on the outside again. Parsons is not giving it up. He's really trying to get after the 3-time Cup champion in the form of Dale Earnhardt. Think about the greats of NASCAR that have 3 championships in their career. Richard Petty, of course, having 7. You've got David Pearson with 3 championships. Cale Yarborough with 3 championships. Darrell Waltrip with 3 championships. And you have Dale Earnhardt with 3 championships, adding his name to that list last year. I believe Ned Jarrett also has 3 championships, but don't quote me on that. Meanwhile, Elliott, he's trying to get clear of Davey Allison here. As you can see, Sterling Marlin's starting to come up as well. He's having a good run. Marlin knows how to get it done at these large tracks. He's shown very good prowess here in that number 94 car. Remember, he does have a win at Talladega, so he does know how to navigate these large tracks. The battle for the lead continues to be single file as Rusty Wallace continues to lead. Right now we're watching the battle for third, and this has been quite the intriguing battle. Now the question is, are we going to see a pit stop fiasco like we saw in the last race? Any kind of controversies going on? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I think Elliott needs to switch to this top lane here. And Sterling Marlin's going to make him do it. Marlin hard on the brakes. Wow, he got loose in the center of the corner. He had to get hard on the brakes. I thought there was going to be an accident there. No, what there is going to be now is Bill Elliott trying to work with Phil Parsons to get around Dale Earnhardt, and I think that's going to be the kick that Parsons needs to get around. That's not going to happen, but what is going to happen is Davey Allison dives hard to the inside, trying to take the position away from Bill Elliott. That didn't happen, but here comes Parsons. He's going to take the position away from Dale Earnhardt. There goes Parsons. He's going to pull away now. Meanwhile, Elliott, he's going to hope for Parsons to help him, but no help is he going to get. In fact, Davey Allison's going to continue to improve his position as he's going to try to get his second top 5 of the year. Elliott trying to fight back on the outside line, and in fact he will. But how useful is that fight going to be? He's trying. And whoa, more hitting of the brakes there. We've got to get real careful here and make sure that we're not causing any accidents. Going back to the battle for the lead, not much has changed. Rusty Wallace continues to dominate this race. Boy, what a good race for the Jackson brothers right now. Harry Gant third, Phil Parsons fourth. They've got to be very pleased with their team right now. They're doing very, very, very well. No doubt about that. Dale Earnhardt, however, he's still in the lead. Now we're going to get pit stops here. Right before the halfway mark, we're going to see Phil Parsons, Dale Earnhardt, and Bill Elliott make their way down pit road. It looks like Rusty Wallace, Tim Richmond, and Harry Gant, they're all still out there. So some of the field taking a little bit of a risk by pitting early. We saw the terrible consequences that had last time at the last Michigan race. We'll see what happens this time. Everyone, I think, a little more wary. And we got Larry Pearson blowing up here coming onto pit road. Leaders are going to have to make sure not to slip on any oil. Meanwhile, we've got a couple drivers staying out. Brett Bodine is going to get 5 bonus points for leading the lap. But now we've got to ask ourselves, is Ricky Rudd going to try to get 5 bonus points for leading the lap here? Now it looks like he's going to let Bodine go. Bodine's going to drive it into 3, perfectly fine. So these people, we can be pretty much 100% sure they're going to make it. So if the leaders encounter any problems, keep your eyes on the 15 of Brett Bodine, as he might be able to come away with his first career win today. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt looks like he fell way back because here's Phil Parsons on the track right now. So, wow, Earnhardt really fell back. Is Phil Parsons your leader? No, there's Harry Gant. He's way up here. And here's Tim Richmond even further up. And there's Rusty Wallace even further up than that. That's right, Dale Earnhardt wasn't part of the lead battle. So Rusty Wallace is going to reassume the lead. Tim Richmond second, Harry Gant third. No problems there. Phil Parsons fourth, Dale Earnhardt fifth. Davey Allison sixth, Bill Elliott seventh, Darrell Waltrip eighth. And then Sterling Marlin and Terry Labonte battling for ninth. I don't think that there's any position changes during the pit stops there. Other than Brett Bodine getting a couple of laps led. Nothing much else happened there. So now the field's really spread out, and now we're just going to have to ask ourselves, who's going to have the cars to make it to the end of this race? A couple people pitted early. A lot of people pit right on the halfway point. A couple people pitted a little late. We'll see who's able to make it and who isn't. It'll be close. Right now, Rusty Wallace, if he could sweep, well, not sweep, but if he can get a win here at Michigan, tie that into the win that he got at Pocono earlier on in the year, and at least he's going to get a multi-win season out of this. Abysmal season for this 27 crew. Maybe a championship run hangover happened with this squad. Got a little too cocky, and, well, injury happened to Rusty Wallace, and then as more bad luck continued to happen throughout the season. Struggling to stay in the top 10 in points, but a second win is certainly going to help this squad stay in there. Tim Richmond, we all know about him. Harry Gant, another struggling team going into this season. And, well, they can't really say that they're struggling anymore, even though they're still outside of the top 10 in points. This team seems to be doing very, very well for themselves. Got Phil Parsons, too, back here. Phil Parsons is doing really well for himself. Right now in fourth, trying to hold off the three-time champion Earnhardt. You've got another champion behind him in the form of Bill Elliott. Remember, he won the 1984, the initial Throwbacks Championship. He did so in dominating fashion. Yet, he still didn't win the Winston Million, and we don't have any Winston Million contenders this year, of course. We had a different winner at every single one of the first three Winston Million races. Meanwhile, looks like the leaders at, well, at least fourth place and company have run down Harry Gant. So Gant maybe not having the speed that he wants coming off of pit road because he's about to get passed by his teammate here, Phil Parsons, on the outside. And there goes Parsons with the help of Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, he's going to be able to get by here. He's going to get a good run here in turns 3 and 4 and quite possibly take off from these two. In fact, Harry Gant looks like he's just going to concede the spot to Dale Earnhardt. So everyone's going to go back to single file racing, and Phil Parsons is going to move into the third position. I believe these guys have actually been running down Rusty Wallace and Tim Richmond. They've been running very, very slow. I'm seeing 182 miles an hour, 184 miles an hour. Phil Parsons has been running 186 miles an hour. Same thing with Dale Earnhardt. So I don't know if they're sandbagging to conserve tires, Maybe sandbagging to conserve fuel. I'm not 100% sure, but Phil Parsons is not holding anything back right now. And Harry Gant with 185.8 miles an hour. There we go, another 182 mile an hour lap out of Tim Richmond. And boy, that's just basement speed. We're talking 182 miles an hour. That's the fastest lap set by Derek Cope in the 10 car. So, and they're 40th. Well, right now in the race, they're 34th. So, you can't be going 182 miles an hour and expect to stay in the top 10 for very long. Not that pace. Maybe Richmond picking up the pace a little bit to 183 miles an hour. But for supposedly the fastest car on the track, that car is not running fast at all. Gant's going to try to take advantage too. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace, it looks like he's starting to get up to speed, but he is trapped in traffic right now. And no, he's down to 184 miles an hour again. And that lead continues to go down very quickly. As Phil Parsons, he's not exactly running lightning fast times, and neither is Dale Earnhardt behind him. But the leaders just maybe misadjusted, or something broke on their cars, or something happened down pit road. I'm not 100% certain. Maybe it had something to do with coming in behind Larry Pearson. Something getting on the grills of the cars, potentially. I'm not 100% sure, but remember, those three cars, they pulled down onto pit road right behind Larry Pearson. Pearson was blowing up. I'm not 100% sure if that's the reason why these cars are not doing well, but just remember, that may have something to do with this performance gap right now. And Rusty Wallace is trying to get the job done, but he's not going very fast either. He's out in front of the lap traffic now. So he's at least got the lap traffic going for him. That lap was 183.3 miles an hour. That lap by Phil Parsons was 186.4 miles an hour. And that lead got cut from 3.8 to 3.4. So Phil Parsons is coming, no doubt about that. You can't doubt that one single bit. You can also not doubt that Earnhardt wants by Phil Parsons. It seems like he's actually got the faster car. But I think Earnhardt's realizing that these two, they're running very fast together. Earnhardt probably doesn't want to break that up until he believes that he can try to win this race. So this is actually a really smart veteran move right now by Dale Earnhardt, trying to get a win. Pushing Phil Parsons around this track. And this will probably play out to their benefit. The lead is now just 3 seconds. Now, I'm trying to look to see if there's damage on any of these three cars up front. I don't see anything physical. So, it's got to be a mechanical issue, whatever's going on. Meanwhile, Parsons is in the wall. Phil Parsons in the wall. Yeah, that's gonna slow him down. Wow. Not a mistake that you would exactly expect from Phil Parsons, but that's exactly what happened. See, the 1985 Rookie of the Year runner-up, Phil Parsons, not doing well there at all. And now put Dale Earnhardt in the second position, and they are running down Rusty Wallace very quickly. Again, Wallace is also down in the 183s. But now maybe Maybe it's the draft that's helping these guys along. I'm not 100% sure. But here's Harry Gant. He's running 185 miles an hour now. Wow, maybe that wall didn't affect Phil Parsons at all, because it seems like he's come right off of it. I don't see any smoke coming from the tires, and now he's trying to get a run on his teammate. Two seconds the gap right now to the leader. I don't know, Rusty Wallace built up a really strong lead after the pit stop. I don't think that they're going to have time to catch him. But we'll see what happens here. I think it's going to take a lot to catch him myself. I think Wallace is going to have this race in the bag. Remember, if people have to start coming down pit road, your leader is going to be the number 15 of Brett Bodine. If nobody can make it just like last time, everybody should be able to make it. I'll be surprised if someone doesn't, but we'll see. Clearly anything can happen at this point in time. Earnhardt trying to find the best way around lap traffic right now. Lap traffic really not playing ball. You think that maybe Phil Parsons hitting the wall really hurt this dynamic between Parsons and Earnhardt. They were really trucking it, and now they're going over a mile an hour slower a lap now that they're not hooked up. But Earnhardt's still going faster than Rusty Wallace, but not even close to the pace that he was going faster than Wallace. It's going to be interesting to see if Earnhardt can run down Rusty Wallace here, but I think Wallace can pretty much cruise to victory right now. We'll see the times here. Rusty Wallace, 185.2 miles an hour. Dale Earnhardt, 185.2 miles an hour. And no gain or loss for that matter. Meanwhile, Gant was part of that pack that had maybe a questionable run down pit road. Parsons hit the wall. His car hasn't been the same since then. So the only person that is going to run down Rusty Wallace now is going to be Dale Earnhardt, and I don't think he's going to get the job done. We'll see the times this time. 185 flat, 184.9. So Wallace is starting to rise from the dead a little bit. Good Lord, maybe Wallace isn't in as much peril as we thought. Maybe it was just conserving tires. He had a 5-second lead to play with, and, well, he's lost 3 of those seconds, but 4 laps to go when he comes to the line. I don't think he's going to lose another one. Yeah, that was 186 miles an hour that time for Wallace, and he's actually pulling away from Dale Earnhardt now. Wallace maybe getting the hopes up of all these drivers up front. Maybe he can serve just enough to be able to make it to the end. Obviously, you don't want to pit underneath these conditions. And he's going to have this here. No doubt about it. Excellent pitch strategy played by Rusty Wallace here. 3 laps to go. I don't think anyone's going to run down Wallace. In fact, Wallace is running away with this race. Meanwhile, we've got a points battle here. Elliott's got to get around Richmond to try to make some kind of inroads on this championship. Yeah, he's got to find some way around Tim Richmond. He doesn't need Richmond pulling another 5 points ahead of him. So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll see if Elliott's able to make any sort of move on Richmond. We know that he doesn't exactly have the fastest car in the world right now, and Elliott's trying to take advantage. 2 laps to go. Wallace is now up to an almost 3-second advantage. It looks like he's running away with the race. Unless something drastic happens, I don't see anything changing right now. Here he's trying to get around the outside of Mickey Gibbs. He'll be able to do that. Wallace is going to take the white flag. Looks like everyone's going to take the white flag. No misjudgments of pitting this time. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go here from Michigan. Right now you're watching a points battle. Tim Richmond in 5th, Bill Elliott in 6th. These are your 2 points leaders. Elliott needs to get around to try to run down Tim Richmond in points. It'll be only 5 points, but every point matters. Will Elliott try to make a move? He's going to try to the inside. An interesting strategy. We'll see if it works. Elliott trying to squeeze in. It's not going to be enough. Rusty Wallace is going to take the checkered flag if the camera would pan to him. Earnhardt in 2nd. Phil Parsons in 3rd. Harry Gant in 4th as they came side by side to the line. Tim Richmond 5th. Bill Elliott 6th. We're going to have Brett Bodine come away with 7th. Jeff Bodine in 8th. Davey Ellison 9th. And Harry Labonte will hold on to the final top 10 spot. Going to wait for everyone to cross the line here so we can take a look at results and points. And it looks like 172 points is now the gap to Richmond. Oh boy. It's just going to get harder and harder as the season goes on to really reel in Tim Richmond. But boy, this championship season's been all over the place. We've now got 5 drivers with multiple wins. I can't even remember the last time when we had that happen. I believe 1985 was the last time that we had so many different winners and so many different multiple winners. But some surprises to this point that Earnhardt only has 1 win to this season. Wallace only has 2 wins this season. And yeah, those are just 2 surprises. Of course, Morgan Shepherd and Rick Mass getting wins. Those were surprises. Rick Mass still serving his penalty and will be doing so for the next 3 races. We take a look at Rookie of the Year. Dick Trickle still seems to be clear sailing ahead of Hutch Strickland. I believe he's ahead of Strickland by about 1.5 races. So he should be okay, good to go. And well, yeah, there's still a very, very tight points battle going on here, but everyone is still getting more and more spread out steadily. A good points battle for 3rd, a good points battle for 7th. Things are still moving along rapidly, but those are the good points battles right now. We'll see you next week for Bristol, and that is the night race at Bristol, so you know it's going to be an exciting one.